much. Except for Donald Trump's a piece of shit. Peace out. Love you.
Fun fact, if you wake up just 1 hour earlier, you can include up to 60 extra minutes of anxiety into every day.
What have you tried sexually that you would never try again?
My first husband.
Everybody has a gay cousin. Bitch, I don't have a gay cousin. Wait. Oh shit, I am the gay. Oh my god.
This is what they're going to give you more of if you elect them. Abortion.
Yay.
Pot.
Yay.
Porn.
Yay.
And more January 6th hearings.
Yay.
You got into Harvard Law?
What, like it's hard?
Excuse me, miss. Could you serve me, please? No, that's not quite what I meant.
Trump can spew a lot of garbage, but I can spit fire. Let me give us someone, I'm giving what I gotta do to get it through. You will a human, innovative, and I made a rebel, so think anything you say is speaking, saying off of me. Devastating, more than ever demonstrating how to give a motherfucker.
Now, as a straight man, which do you give less of a fuck about, women's rights or gay rights?
Less?
Less.
Equal.
You equally do not care.
That's a up question.
That's a up answer.
So this happened at the hashtag Gainesville Pride Center last night.
Want me to sleep into your...
How gay are you? Me? Zero, I think.
This is my fiance.
Did you always know that you were not gay, or was that something you discovered over the years? Well, I've always kind of known, I think. Have you ever kissed a man before? No. If you look at this guy here, does it change your, make you like maybe a 1.0 on the gay scale? No, I mean, I think he's very attractive. So to test that, quick question. What's the current quarterback of the 69ers? I have no idea. You might be a little gay, my friend. No, I'm just going to put it out there.
Call me whatever you want. I hope you brought in a few dollars. I hope it made you sleep good last night. I am a straight, white, Christian, married, suburban mom. I want every child in this state to feel seen, heard, and supported, not marginalized and targeted because they are not straight, white, and Christian. People who are different are not the reason that our roads are in bad shape after decades of disinvestment, or that healthcare costs are too high, or that teachers are leaving the profession. We cannot let hateful people tell you otherwise, to scapegoat and deflect from the fact that they are not doing anything to fix the real issues that impact people's lives. And I know that hate will only win if people like me stand by and let it happen.
Trans people are great.
What about Adam and Eve?
What does that have to do with God-loving trans people?
God told us what gender means, male and female. He created them.
Oh, so we should get our sexual ethic from Adam and Eve.
Exactly.
So Adam and Eve were the first humans, right?
Obviously.
So Adam and Eve are the first humans. Who did Seth have sex with?
Who?
Seth, the remaining son of Adam and Eve. He had children. Who was the mother? Was he banging his sister, or was he banging his mom?
Well, I think that part was meant to be taken metaphorically.
Oh, so the parts that you like you take literally, and the parts you don't like you say are metaphorical.
Well, yeah, I guess.
There's a better way of interpreting the Bible, friend. If we use our heads and our hearts when we try and understand the Bible, we can recognize that God's message is clear.
Woke up to the news this morning that 5 people were killed and 18 injured in a mass shooting at an LGBTQ+ nightclub in Colorado Springs last night. In fact, today is actually Trans Day of Remembrance, and 2021 was the deadliest year on record for trans and non-binary people. So can I be candid just for a second? God hates this. He hates this. God hates homophobia and transphobia and sexism and racism and classism and every other form of oppression. God hates violence. God hates sin because sin hurts us. God hates sin because sin prevents you from experiencing shalom. God hates to see shalom get broken because then we get caught up in that brokenness.
All over the country, we're seeing this backlash against drag performers repeating the threats of us grooming and sexually abusing children. I haven't seen any drag queen convicted or even charged with such crimes. What I have seen in the past few weeks is this. Thomas Brackett, pastor of Holy Trinity Pentecostal Church in Andrews, South Carolina, was taken into custody on 11 warrants that included criminal sexual conduct with 2 different victims. And then there's Kenneth Daniel, a pastor at First Baptist Church of Chalkville, Alabama, who was booked this week and charged with a child sex offense. And here is Christopher Darren Smith, who in 2019 was pastor of Word of Truth Outreach Ministries and was arrested for child molestation. If I had children, who would I trust my children with? These monsters who preach of their God's love, or someone like Miss Majesty Divine who reads to shelter dogs?
Tomorrow, no, I won't give it a break. Don't need to beg, steal, or borrow. Watch me as I walk this way. I'm busy building an empire. Don't really care what they say. I'm only here for a good time. Drown them out like now, no stay. Mind over matter, take control. All my visions are set in stone. Don't kill my vibe. I'm flawless by design. Can't change my mind. Got too much on the line. Won't waste my time. You better recognize. Don't kill my vibe. I'm feeling so alive. I was born for this. Born for this. I was born for this. Ooh. Promise forever, but I'll be fighting for more.
Welcome. State your name for the record. Yeah, my name is Sean Walls. I'm a community member. We care now, right? I'm asking you all. Because, this didn't start with this psycho doing what he did. It started with the attitude of the people here. It started with the mayor. It started with you guys allowing the mayor to do the things that he does to our community. And now we care. Now the mayor wants to have their backs. This kid, I don't know his name. I can't pronounce it. But he watched as you guys treated us the way that you treated us, as you ignored us. We tell you all that these people there's predators in our community that are doing things to us. But you send your cops, you send your undercover agents, and the predators are watching that we don't have any recourse. What are we to do? So of course it's an easy target. So now we care. You guys got a price to pay. All of you got blood on your hands with this. It didn't just start with this guy doing what he did. It started with your attitudes toward our community. And there's going to be a price to pay for that. You guys got to be ready for that.
There are 5 people that I could not help, and one of which was family to me. Raymond was part of our family since my daughter was in high school. I went to his football games. I sat with his mom. I sat with his little brother. They are great people. So I fell backwards, and as I hit it, I saw the ACU armor plates. He's over there. I don't know if he was shooting again. I know there was a lull. I saw that, and I saw the people in the patio. I said, move the AR, get the AR away from him. And the kid did it. And then I started wailing on this dude. And I'm on top of him. I'm a big dude, man, and this guy was bigger. And I just kept wailing on him. Listen, there's video and all kinds of stuff. I don't know if I'm even telling it right. I just know I got into mode, and I needed to save my family. And that family was, at that time, everybody in that room. I support my community, whoever that is, okay? I love everybody, and I've never said anything different. I really hope people use this and shake someone's hand, give someone a hug, give them a kiss. These are good people, man. These were all kids. I feel no joy. I'm not happy. I'm not excited. That guy is still alive, and my family is not.
The NYPD protected an anti-trans quote-unquote feminist group and arrested trans rights protesters that were on the sidewalk. This trans exclusionary quote-unquote feminist group was ending a countrywide speaking tour at City Hall in New York City. As you can see, these are some of the blatant transphobic signs that were included. So naturally, trans rights activists came to protest this hypocrisy. Here, you can see an NYPD officer pointing out a trans rights protester before arresting them, and then only after the arrest playing the LRAD, declaring that the protest is obstructing traffic when the only people in the streets were the police. Here, an NYPD officer attempts to grab a trans liberation sign. Here, an NYPD officer is fighting a trans rights protester. A total of 9 trans rights protesters were arrested, while none of the trans exclusionary quote-unquote feminist group was, and instead was heavily protected by the NYPD. To say that there was an excessive amount of cops protecting the trans exclusionary quote-unquote feminist group would be an understatement. There were more cops than people at this event. They were positioned to kettle, even having a back line behind a fence and locking up the subway station, which is illegal because it's a blatant fire hazard. When the trans exclusionary quote-unquote feminist group went to leave, they received a private escort from the NYPD to the parking garage to make sure that they got home safe. This ironically took place on the first day of Trans Visibility Week, and it's important that people are aware that this is who the NYPD protect and serve, that this took place in New York City, and is truly a microcosm of how trans rights continue to be under attack in the United States.
When all you have is a hammer, everything starts to look like a culture war. So you got a political faction that really doesn't have a lot of answers for many of the questions that people are wrestling with. They love talking about gas prices, but they don't have an answer on gas prices. They don't have an answer on inflation. Many of them answered our call for bipartisan infrastructure work with a no. Haven't seen an answer on what to do about the price of prescription drugs. They voted against lowering that. Don't have an answer on what to do about the cost of childcare. Don't have a great answer on taxes. Actually want to raise taxes for the poor. That's a new one. I thought I'd seen it all. Then I saw Senator Scott's proposal to raise taxes for the poor. That's not great territory for them to be debating on. So what do? They find somebody vulnerable and pick on them, which at the moment is largely the trans community. And they find something to talk about which can go between the laughable, like is Donald Duck going to make your kid gay, to the incredibly dark, which is the suggestion that the very presence of someone who is gender nonconforming or trans or gay or lesbian or otherwise different, the very existence of somebody like that is an adult subject, right? That if my kids in, let's say, a first grade classroom were to mention in passing that over the weekend they had a great time going with their dads to the zoo, that they would have somehow, by saying that, uttered something age inappropriate and get us really fired up about that fight. And it's just politics. It's motivated by just politics. So I guess what I'm saying is we're seeing a lot of overlapping patterns that are all pointing in the direction that the worst tendencies in human politics always have, which is to take rights and freedoms away and to make it harder for vulnerable people in the service of some imagined political.
Trans people have become a repository for the unprocessed grief of this disconsolate society. It's a society that fabricates narratives that trans people are dangerous to distract from the real violence occurring in its places of worship. It's a society that worships the false prophet of fear, whose scriptures seep across news feeds like an oil spill, whose disciplines and disciples paint murals out of the muck, manufacturing misinformation about trans healthcare in a country where the majority of people can't even afford to go to a doctor. It's a society that fuels the myth that our drag shows are destructive to divert from the true scene of the crime, its own homes, its own familial abuse passed down across generations like a family heirloom, one in which we wear our brokenness as a badge, as if our heartbreak makes us a martyr, not just miserable. It's a society that teaches men that their worth is commensurate with how much they can become a weapon, first detonated against themselves, then against one another, then against anyone who reminds them that they too are capable of blood. It's a society of fiction writers cosplaying as politicians, using this country as their global Comic-Con to compose stories so tantalizing and irresistible that the people, they live in them, not here on this earth, but there in the fairy tales of this country and its surgical division of billions of beautiful people into one of two genders and the subsequent pageantry of pretending like this coercion was our own choice. It's a society where we are told we only have worth for what we look like, not who we are, one which ritualizes and glorifies the irreversible damage of flattening our multitudes into mere flesh as if we were only bodies, not souls. Trans people are demonized precisely because that prevents this society from addressing its own wounds. Transphobia was invented as a quick fix, a diversion, an ambassador to the status quo. The anguish and the indignation that many feel is just and necessary, but it is being misdirected at the wrong target. Trans people are not the enemy. Redirect your rage from being called cis to the system, my friends.